Thompson Gnanam. Actually, he's the Chief Digital Business Officer for Conneqt Business Solutions. He has got over 27 years of experience. He has led a lot of P&L, sales, marketing, business and digital transformation and outsourcing management practices. In the past, he has worked with various multinationals. He's been having a incredible global experience in enabling clients through large transformation-led consulting methodologies. He's currently running the digital business for Conneqt Business Solutions. He is a proud co-author of Hewlett-Packard Global Business Financial Services operating model on the BPO space. Actually, welcome, Thompson. Thompson, you come from a digital background, technology space, and you have also combined that with the processes, and the practices, how it is helping business to achieve its efficiency and effectiveness. Now, this pandemic, actually, we all know that has accelerated that digital banking practices beyond what we have seen in the past, more than even before COVID, as I told you, actually banking has seen a lot of such things. So I just want to hear your views on how this acceleration is helping. What are your views on these accelerated digital banking practices, especially during pandemic and also in the new normal? Thompson.
Sure, Kalyan. See, the pandemic has really accelerated digital transformation, as you said, because the last 6-7 months, I see almost 5x, increase in terms of, digital transformation adoption across industries, and even if you look at from a banking perspective, and as a service provider, we interact with our customers and definitely with the banking space, and we have seen a huge change happening. And if you look at the industry and Indian economy, if you look at it, 1 year ago we were talking about a less cash economy, trying to become a cashless economy, but I think the last 6 months we just accelerated into a cashless economy. The building blocks of a true digital economy has taken shape. It's like a reset button has been kind of pressed. So the way I look at it is like all innovation and invention happens when there's a huge necessity. I think this has really tested all of us this time. As an industry, we have tried to figure out as organizations, as employees, as people, we have all been it's challenged to see how we could probably think out of the box and kind of overcome this status quo. That's a key thing which is happening. If you look at banking, it's tested everything, in terms of true touchless, contactless banking. You name it, everything is come to the fore right now. The whole mix of a physical versus virtual versus a digital channel mix, if I may say, from a customer experience perspective, has changed overnight. Almost overnight has changed because we didn't have a choice, right, in this lockdown, saying that, do I have a choice of physical? So it's that the necessity which has really driven the, ecosystem adapting to a kind of a digital mix. So that's the moot point. But then the large question is, were you ready really to manage an end-to-end seamless customer experience through digital? Maybe not. But I think what has happened is that this is really testing every bank, every organization to say that, in a true customer lifecycle journey, right? How do I graduate? How do I graduate from CIM, if I call it like customer interaction management, to CCM, to customer care management, to CPM, customer value management? I think that has really been, challenged, and it's also in one way positively kind of, accelerating it. And I also see that, one of the key differentiators, the way I look at it, empowerment will always drive customer delight. And going back to basics, the need for customer service. Dwell on that a bit. Why do we need customer service? We need customer service because of potential impact to customer experience. Now, in a lockdown scenario or post-pandemic, we suddenly realized that we had done a lot of front office digital. We had all these bots which are functioning. But what we didn't do is, we didn't integrate these front office digital transformation innovations with the back office and middle office to really provide an end-to-end seamless experience to our customers. That has now opened up huge opportunities, and every bank is now trying to accelerate and see that how do I kind of stitch all this disparate systems together. That's one. Second thing, another thing which we saw, is in this pandemic, a lot of our customers and bankers as well, see that how do we quickly ramp up? We've been traditionally a kind of a physical infrastructure-led delivery model, right? Now they're saying that, okay, now how do we kind of overcome this? So then bankers started experimenting, saying that can we have virtual work from home? Then how do we balance work from home with data security issues and things like that? So we started co-creating this, so that's the second step. Now, slowly we are getting used to this borderless workforce. It's becoming a new norm. Now, how do I run a borderless workforce with all the security norms and privacy norms which is required? So all these are evolving. The second important trend is the entire AI and NLP-based cognitive bots. There are plenty of bots around. But now then, how do we now, these standalone bots can be now integrated into mainstream, integrated into a human-driven process is happening right now, because all these standalone processes are now getting consolidated. So that's the one trend which I would say which is happening. And in my mind, from a overall digital technologies such as AI, ML, and self-learning systems, also now suddenly we are realizing the power of that, because we are suddenly seeing that to drive customer empowerment, all this is now coming together, because all these building blocks were already there. It's not like we invented this the last 6 months. They were there. So they're all coming together, and we're now stitching all these together to kind of solve customer problems. So, and then some of these buzzwords like digital first, digital native, and it is also kind of breaking some of these things, saying that it does not mean that digital first or digital native or a digital only organization or digital only bank does not mean that we're going to run an entire customer experience using a machine. The best in class customer experience can be delivered by a bank, if I'm repetitive. It's only by empowering their employees and empowering their partner employees with the required insights which are now being fueled by cognitive AI technologies to give an extremely delightful experience to customers. So that's the kind of trend which is happening. And ultimately the success of, if I look at it, digital transformation, Kalyan, the way I look at it, can happen only if we can make it seamless and manage it end to end. So seamless humanoids or digital workers and human beings working together seamlessly. In conclusion to your question, Kalyan, the way I look at it is digital technology can be replicated, but the humans are going to become the superhuman employees, because they're going to be powered and digitally enabled by cognitive capabilities, which will really help a particular bank to differentiate oneself from competition, because using digital transformation, we'll be creating more simple, intuitive, and secure, empowered processes for our customers.
From his digital technology experience, I just want to understand from Thompson. I mean, we've been talking about those days a decade before on iBanking, then we moved on to mobile banking. Now we are talking about biometric banking, using touchless, contactless nowadays during the pandemic. So what's next, Thompson? What is your view on this? What's next?
A very interesting question, because evolution, like previous subject we spoke about also, this information has really accelerated. So just, on the last word you spoke about, biometric itself is a huge subject by itself, it's moved so much. And, a lot of things have been happening globally, maybe just a question of, whether who's adopting it first. Maybe I can just quickly cite some examples, like, right from a Royal Bank of Scotland, which had payment cards, biometrics, to Barclays, which has unique vein readers, to voice authentication, so forth. I think there's no dearth for such innovation which has been happening, the world around us. But I think the moot point I would probably go back, Kalyan, is being my first love in terms of industry being in telecom, so probably I'll take that and, try and relate that to banking, is because the age of 5G, maybe in India, we are a few quarters away from 5G or maybe a year away, depending on how the telecom industry evolves. But globally, if you look at the age of 5G will drive huge faster adoption of cloud infrastructure, and especially the bank in the cloud is not very far away. So that's the first step, because a cloud will be a future norm in terms of enhanced security, governance, and powered by some of the next generation technologies like blockchain. Blockchain has been around for some time. All of us know cryptocurrency, but if you look at the foundations of blockchain, it really helps us enhance traceability, trackability of transactions, brings this entire self-managed ecosystem of compliance. So this is going to be a very integral part of our future bank. That's one. The second important change which 5G will also bring forth for the bank is edge computing, because edge computing will complement cloud, because and when we kind of converge edge computing with IoT, the Internet of Things, I think the real true transformation will start happening. So that's the next wave I'm saying. Just to make edge computing so simple from a layman's term perspective, edge computing is nothing but we move the entire processing, storage, security capabilities to the edge of the network. So when I say the edge of the networks, it's the consumer, like you and me, where the processing power and the capability is brought to the edge to our devices. So this actually changes the way the entire architecture will work in the future. And what I'm saying is not going to happen after maybe a decade, because the acceleration has happened that is going to happen in a few years from now. It's just a question of the moment we have 5G, this is going to happen. Now, edge, if you look at it, what edge is going to do is increase security, because as I said, edge computing is bringing it to the edge of the network, bringing it to the consumer. So fundamentally, the probability of hackers hacking into your packet when it's interacting with your data center and the edge is all limited. So kind of it really increases security. Second, it reduces latency, because you look at it, the transaction time, the to and fro movement of it, all of this will be reduced, because as a client, as a consumer, because it's again empowerment at your level, edge level. It's going to reduce latency, so it's going to immensely increase customer experience. The third is the convergence of multiple edge devices. Today also we have edge devices, right? Everything is the edge, but the thing is how much it is edge computing ready, in terms of from an architecture perspective, whether it's your bank app or your ATM or your kiosk or any of these edge devices. Now, how do we kind of take these from more unified performance to the next level? So the boost to IoT is going to happen. That's the third. And with all these constraints removed today, because you look at it today, even as a bank yourself, Kalyan, when you want to drive process improvements, the constraints are that how do I balance data security versus data privacy versus customer experience? So all this kind of barriers will be removed the moment we bring in edge computing architecture, and it increases innovation. And if you look at it, since we are now kind of brought the processing power, the storage, the security to the edge of the device, your cost of data center comes down. So it's going to kind of overall bring down the cost for the bank in terms of the overall end-to-end cost, because we have extremely, in a sense, drastically would have reduced the need for higher processing power in the data centers. So I think, broadly, this is the key trend I'm seeing, Kalyan, because we will quite, very quickly and swiftly migrate to the edge computing architecture. Yeah.
Excellent, Thompson. That's a powerful insight, actually. So from a service provider perspective, it's going to be economical in terms of infrastructure and whatever they're going to provide for a better customer experience. From a customer point of view, they're going to have a better customer experience, safety and security. All those 33% that we had in that poll will also be tackled, and hopefully we're looking for that kind of a good future with the digital intervention. Thanks, Thompson, for that. Thompson, this question is about human versus humanoid experience, and how does it differ? What are your quick views on this, actually, Thompson?
See, as I said in my initial thing, the humanoid experience has to be seamless. They have to coexist, and they have to be an ecosystem which works together, and they have to be self-learning. And in my view, the human always has to be the master of the humanoid, so that we prevent a Terminator 2 or a Terminator 3 scenario for all of us.